The Redmi Note 8 Pro is here. I've used it as my primary for well over a week. So what's the verdict? Is the move to MediaTek a pro or is it a con? Is the 64 megapixel camera an upgrade? Is it a gimmick? Is the Note 8 Pro worth the 15,000 rupee asking price? Or is that honest pricing? Let's find out in today's video, but before we do, if this is your first time here or in case you've forgotten, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and if you do end up liking what you see, please don't forget to turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon. Let's go ahead and get this review started. Now the build, the design, we've spoken about that a lot. It's Gorilla Glass 5 to the front and back, which at this price point, it's quite fabulous. They've not downgraded to Gorilla Glass 3 Plus or anything, so that's nice, and props to Xiaomi there, or rather Redmi there. The back on this white variant, it's a nice mix of hues. It's a gradient, yes, but it's not as in your face as say the Note 10 Plus that I have. It's a bit refined and I really like what Redmi's done with the looks. The sides are still plastic, yes, but they have a metallic finish, kind of like Samsung's mid-ranges from a while back. But here they kind of augment the look of the phone. At 8.8 millimeters of thickness and 200 grams of weight, the Redmi Note 8 Pro isn't a small or light phone. But hey, you aren't really looking for a small or light phone if you're looking at a Redmi Note, right? That said, for a larger phone, the Note 8 Pro is comfortable in hand. In the week out that I used it as my primary, I didn't feel it as being a heavy phone. I did use it with the included silicone case at all times, as the glass back is slippery and prone to smudges. So grip wise, it wasn't really a problem for me. I liked how the Note 8 Pro felt in hand. The curved 3D glass back helped with ergonomics. So not only from a looks perspective, but even when it came to the in-hand feel, the Note 8 Pro felt good. And Redmi has even managed to keep the overall size of the phone about the same as its predecessor, despite managing to increase the size of the display. Now, talking about which, this is what I had to say in my unboxing of the Indian variant. You know, Redmi has got that beautiful 6.53-inch IPS LCD panel here. The resolution is Full HD+, so it's pretty sharp. The notch is quite tiny and unobtrusive, and this display is covered by Corning's Gorilla Glass 5 for protection. The quality of the panel, that's excellent. It has good accurate whites, pumped up colors and excellent viewing angles. It gets quite bright too. 500 nits is what Redmi is claiming, and I have no reason to doubt it since I've had little trouble using it outdoors. While all this was great, the one con with the Chinese variant was that it did not have support for Widevine L1. Widevine L1 certification is now present here, and streaming HD content via apps like Netflix and Amazon Prime should be no issue. Now the display is just one aspect of media consumption. Another is audio. For that, the headphone jack is still present and the audio output from it, it's pretty loud and clear, free of distortion, no complaints. The single downwards firing speaker also sounds louder than it did with the Note 7 Pro, so that's a step up too. Well, on the topic of audio, cellular reception and call quality were on point. I didn't face any signal drops and the call quality was crystal clear at most times. Okay, let's now talk internals. The biggest upgrade to the Redmi Note 8 Pro, it's gotta be the chip inside. Here this time, after a long time, Redmi has chosen to go with MediaTek for their Note series. This could have potentially been a bad move if the chip had not performed well. Now, a lot of people, including myself, we had concerns on how this chip was gonna hold up. But the Helio G9TT, it's been very good. If you look at the spec sheet, this is a 12nm octa-core chip. The core breakup is 2 high-powered A76 cores clocked up to 2 GHz each and 6 power-efficient A55 cores clocked at up to 2.05 GHz each. They coupled with a Mali G76 GPU, that's a quad-core GPU clocked at up to 800 MHz. At launch, Xiaomi, or rather Redmi, were proud to talk up benchmark numbers, but benchmarks, they don't always tell the whole story, right? But whether it was my gaming tests, the performance parts of it where we pushed the Helio G9TT as much as we could, or whether it was with regards to handling the thermals to check for heating or throttling, the Redmi Note 8 Pro performed fine. MediaTek's Hyper Engine game technology along with MIUI's Game Turbo, they're supposed to play a big role in making this happen. Gaming performance is really good. The liquid cooled tech inside helps avoid throttling and also keeps the phone from getting too hot. And with day-to-day usage, MIUI 10 on top of Android 9 Pie is what we get here, and the G90T runs it like a champ. Redmi have promised to upgrade this to MIUI 11 before the end of the year. The user experience here has been exceptional so far. I took the Note 8 Pro with me on my trip to Dubai, and I had actually switched to it from a flagship phone. But I didn't really feel like I was using a slower device. The G90T inside, along with the use of UFS 2.1 storage, meant that MIUI felt fast and responsive, and the experience was almost flagship level, at least when it came to day-to-day usage. Whether it was browsing, checking social media, scrolling through a feed, or jumping back and forth between apps using MIUI's intuitive gestures, it's all very smooth. The G90T also allows for dual wake-up word support, so we can wake the phone up using either Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant's trigger words. This isn't something we've seen at this segment and definitely adds value that we've not seen before. Alexa is quite integrated here, and we also find Google Lens integrated into the camera software. These are features that are unique to the Indian variant, and apart from them, there's also the regular FM radio support. Face Unlock is also present and accounted for. It was my go-to security feature in my time with the Note 8 Pro, probably because of all the in-display fingerprint scanners these days. They've kind of spoiled me, so I'm used to scanners on the front and I don't really use the rear scanners much. And I did like the fact that this one's raised, but it's a little too high. It's not a big con, but it is one worth mentioning nonetheless. It's still excellent hardware, snappy, fast and accurate to detect and unlock. Now the other sundries include the P2i coating that we usually find on Redmi devices, and the Indian variant even comes with a dedicated microSD card slot. One thing that the Indian variant does not come with is NFC, which Xiaomi claims is not too popular in India, and going by the comments on my unboxing video, it seems Xiaomi is right. Most people don't seem to care about NFC, so that doesn't feel like a big omission. The 18-watt quick charger is included in the box, and this helps get that mammoth 4500 mAh battery, the largest on a Redmi Note phone till date, from 0 to 40 in about 30 minutes. That's quite good for a battery this size. It's not something you're gonna need to do often, because when I was using this phone on a couple of days, I didn't even bother plugging it in the night. I was confident enough of getting through day 2. That's how impressive the battery life was. Agreed, these are days where I wasn't pushing my phone to the max, but still, I was in Dubai. I was taking sample shots like these. I was using maps to find my way around. I was checking prices to see if things were more expensive in India or in UAE, how much things converted to. If you've traveled out of the country, that's probably what you use your phone most for when you're outside India, to do math. I still got to the end of day 2 easily, and that's how good the battery life was. Redmi has done a stellar job with battery, you gotta give them that. Now let's finally talk cameras. We have a quad camera set up to the back. The primary camera here, it is Samsung's 64 megapixel GW1. It does well, it captures a good amount of detail and colors. The dynamic range isn't bad either. I spent a lot of time shooting with this one. The clouds here, or the scratched glass in this picture, it came across quite nicely. I really like this picture of Chennai city especially. Now, you know how the 48 megapixel Sony IMX586, with that sensor we lost our dynamic range when we switched to the 48 megapixel mode? That doesn't happen here. We don't really lose out on much. The detail improves quite a bit without us losing much. The only loss here, the only con rather, is the increased file size. It's about 17 to 20 MB per picture when you shoot 64 megapixels. The wide angle sensor, it's 8 megapixel f2.2. It's okay, the colors are pretty similar. There's quite a bit of detail loss, especially when we come down from 64 megapixels. It's okay though for the price. Like in this small shot, if you want to fit a lot into one frame, or like here in this shot of Colombo International Airport, if you want to fit a lot in, this is the way to go. The 2 megapixel macro sensor lets us get shots like this one. Given the amount of detail the 64 megapixel sensor captures, the difference between this and taking a picture with the primary and cropping in is how macro keeps everything in focus. Now, is that something you need? Is that something that's important to you? I'll let you decide. The final sensor is another 2 megapixel sensor, this time for depth detection. It helps with portrait shots, it does reasonably well. And talking about portraits, the 20 megapixel selfie camera, it does well too. It actually does well with all shots, nothing to complain about. As for low light performance, there is a dedicated low light mode, night mode, that MIUI generally offers. Redmi does well with this mode. There's still noise, but as long as there is a bit of light around, the image quality is excellent. Much better than what we'd find on a phone in this segment. It's a worthy successor to the Redmi Note 7 Pro, no doubt about it. As for video, we have support for 4K 30fps. At this resolution, the video is quite punchy and crisp. No stabilization though, that kicks in only at 1080p. At this resolution, it's all quite stable, nice footage. So, all that said, the cameras are a pro, and now let's talk pricing. Redmi kind of surprised us all this time. Honest pricing isn't just Manu's mythical mass marketing mantra, it actually happened to be true. 14,999 for the 664 base, that's insane pricing. The Note 8 Pro, it brings with it, before we talk about what it brings with it, it is more expensive than last year's Note. Yes, Note Pro, I don't disagree, but if you're gonna compare it with last year's 664 variant, it's actually $1,000 cheaper. But every year, prices are supposed to go down, for the hardware that's being offered. So you could argue that as well, but if there is a year that Redmi could get away with hiking prices for what's being offered, this could be that generation, not year, rather generation, because there's a lot that this phone is offering. The Note 8 Pro is killer. It is an all-round winner, and if you're waiting to buy a phone in this segment, wait no more. The Note 8 Pro is probably the best option at the moment. It's got a lot. It's got excellent cameras. It's got one of the most powerful chips in this segment today. It's got an excellent glass build. It's got that P2i coating. It's got a mammoth 4500 mAh battery with quick charge support in the box. And it feels nice in hand, and it's got, overall, it looks good. It's got a good design going for it. So yeah, there you go. These are my 2 cents on the Note 8 Pro. What do you think? What do you feel about Redmi's latest Note 8 Pro? Do you feel it is a great offering? Do you feel there's something Redmi should have done better? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, we get to the end of this full review. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4 Retech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.